Thank you, Dana. So with that, I would now like to introduce the Detroit Creativity Project. The Detroit Creativity Project is a nonprofit founded in 2011 to help transform Detroit youth by teaching them to improvise, a tool that fosters collaboration and respect for others, builds literacy, and encourages experimentation in a safe and supportive setting. This presentation and performance aims to highlight the mental health benefits of cooperative gameplay through the theatrical art of improvisation. Practicing improvisation can reduce anxiety in new situations, promote positive relationships among peers, and can provide space to give your brain a break. Expect to watch demonstrations of the improvisation exercises they'll talk about, and if you're willing, we'll ask you to participate in some of them as well via chat. With that, I also want to give some quick content warnings. Please note to just expect the unexpected. All of the games are geared towards cooperative gameplay and working with one another. And we also leave space for thoughts and opinions that may not be our own. Not knowing what to expect can be uncomfortable, but we aim to create an environment where people feel safe to feel a little bit of discomfort. And now with that, I'd like to kick it over to Kelly Rossi to get going with some introductions there.
Hi, I found my unmute button. Hello, thank you so much for that absolutely amazing introduction. We are so excited to be here. My name, well, let's see. I'm going to, is it okay if I share my screen? Oh, that's such a great picture. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh my gosh. There we go. My name is Kelly Rossi, and I am the program director for the Detroit Creativity Project. As we just heard in that really awesome introduction, we are a nonprofit that focuses on improvisation, which we just talk about is acting without a script. But before I get too far into it, I would just like to start by introducing who is here with us and who is going to be playing these games and talking about improv. And so I will start. We are going to start with our very first game and exercise, which is just a popcorn check-in question. I will introduce myself, and then I'm going to popcorn it over to Faith first. I'm warning you that I'm going to you first, Faith. And I'm just going to ask, instead of an emotion to tell me how she's feeling today, I'm just going to give a subject, anything that you can think of, and then she can tell me that instead of a feeling. So my name is Kelly Rossi. I'm the program director for the Detroit Creativity Project, and I'm going to popcorn it over to Faith Jones. Faith, instead of telling it, give me a little bit about yourself, please, as an introduction. And then instead of telling me how you're feeling today, please describe how you're feeling in the form of a type of candy, of candy. And then popcorn it to somebody else after you.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Faith Jones. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a youth advisor here at the Detroit Creativity Project. Things about myself, I like theater, I crochet, and I hate watch movies. So, you know, it's a little something. A candy that I'm feeling today is Three Musketeers because it's brown and chewy. So I'm gonna popcorn it to Nancy.
And Faith, will you change the subject for Nancy's? Will you pick your own category? I forgot to tell you that. Thank you.
What types of water are you feeling? Like brands of water.
I hear you. I got you, Faith. I got you. Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Hayden. I'm the executive director of the Detroit Creativity Project. We are so happy to be here today. Kelly's told you all about who we are as an organization. I am living back in Detroit again, and I'm new to being back in Detroit again after many years, and I'm thrilled to be home. So that's a little something about me. And we are just thrilled to be here with you. And I'm also looking forward to a wonderful weekend. It's maybe going to be a little sunny for everybody. That would be really nice. My pronouns are she, her as well. And you know, I think I'm going to go with Aquafina as my water for today, Faith. I think that may be my favorite water for today. Let's see. I am going to throw this to Jewel. Jewel's going to meet you next. And Jewel, if you could describe how you're feeling today after you introduce yourself through your favorite binge snack food when you're watching TV. When you're binging TV, what is your favorite snack? Take it away, Jewel. I think we may have a frozen Jewel. Do we have a frozen Jewel? We'll go to Quintin. Quintin, will you take that one for me and your favorite binge snack, and then we'll end it with Jewel. How's that sound?
I will. So my name is Quintin Hicks, he, him, and I've been teaching improv for a very long time. I met Nancy at the Second City, Detroit, before it was Hockey Town, and now another comedy club. I live in Genesee County, which is about an hour north of Detroit. And my favorite snack food to binge while I was watching film or anything else, they no longer make. It died during the pandemic. It was Mama Rosa's pizzas, either the small 4-pack or the 2 large pack that were, you could put in the oven yourself. And to my understanding, Schwann's bought them just to put them out of business. So I haven't found my replacement snack yet, but man, do I miss those cheap little pizzas. All right. Jewel, if you're available, I would say answer me this. Tell us how are you feeling today from your favorite travel destination. Where would you want to be? So describe yourself as your favorite travel destination if you're able to do that. Maybe back to Kelly then. Kelly, if you could answer that question.
Oh, describe how I'm feeling today as a travel destination while we wait for Jewel. I think right now it's maybe instead of being the destination, I'm the airport or the travel hub in which people are moving. I'm kind of like, I'm almost there. I'm going to get there. That's what I'm feeling. And the destination I would be traveling to is somewhere on the East Coast, because that sounds very nice. I've heard from a lot of different people around the country here that are on this, that have been a part of this conference. So that got me thinking about it. Plus your beautiful background, which is not on the East Coast, but still, regardless, traveling. All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Little round of applause for everybody that participated. Thank you all. This is just a really brief way to show how you can check in with feelings, maybe without the feelings. Maybe if somebody wants to describe to you how they're feeling as a piece of candy, you'll get information that maybe you wouldn't get if you necessarily ask that direct question. So that's a really great way for us that we used to like to start all of our online classes. I am going to move to our next slide. And I'm just going to briefly talk about what is improvisation. Improvisation, I'm just going to put this definition out there. You can take with it what you like, but improvisation is acting without a script. That's what we say in the theatrical world, but it's also adaptation. Anytime you go to do something and it didn't work, and you did something else, improvisation, adaptation. And then also we're hoping in this context for it to be a low stakes way to connect and communicate. We definitely didn't have all of the subjects lined up for what we're going to do. So in that sense, we're also operating and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And we're hoping that gives you a couple of places to be able to feel safe, to fail, to not know exactly what's going to happen. And that's part of what we want to accomplish in this workshop. So these are just directly from, if you saw the description online, we'd love for you to take some new games and activities away from this. Again, if you can participate in chat, because we'll ask potentially for some suggestions, how you can participate in a low stakes environment. We'll talk about adapting games and how they can work in different environments for you, and recognizing the importance of feeling safe to fail. I don't think necessarily that we need to go over how important it is to feel safe to fail, but more of recognizing that if we can do it in safe environments at smaller increments, those bigger times when you don't feel very comfortable are going to be a little bit easier. I know that seeing the growth of someone who feels a little bit more comfortable with themselves, what I heard at the very beginning, in the very first kind of coming together of this workshop was of this conference was taking care of self to then take care of your community. And that's something that we hope that you're going to be able to do, is take care of yourself and explore the power of agreement, how each person saying yes leads to success for the group. I'm not sure what would have happened if Faith would have said, no, I will not be going next. And no, I will not be telling anything about what you just said. But I definitely know that I would feel a little bad about what I had done to make that relationship different, that she wouldn't feel comfortable saying, yeah, sure, I'll say candy, even though that seems a little bit silly. So the power of agreement. And I just want to talk really briefly about group norms as far as in an improv class. When I was helping write the content warnings, and it was expect the unexpected. I'm not really sure that you could get more just all encompassing than that. But in that sense of knowing that you're not gonna know what's gonna happen, that can make you feel a little bit more comfortable. I was in a breakout room session before this, and as soon as they said that we were going into breakout rooms, I was like, oh no, I was just about an hour out from coming and doing my own presentation. So you would think that I would feel really comfortable going and talking to people, but it's not like that in every setting. So it's really helpful to be able to practice. So yes, and Faith, would you mind explaining what yes and means to you?
Okay, so to be blunt, not making like the scene difficult. Like, I mean, it can be complex, but like, for example, bus stop is where a lot of like freshmen play the game, and bus stop is basically like somebody's at the bus stop and you have to get them off. And sometimes people just sit there and they're like, I'm not getting off. The scene has to go on, like and if somebody's like, okay, you're a frog and you're pregnant, rib it like a frog and be pregnant, like, do it in your own way and just take what's there and just keep going with it. That's what yes and means to me.
That is a fabulous definition. Thank you, Faith. Yes and is just taking the suggestion and adding onto it. In this scenario, we're hoping that people feel safe to take the idea that is given to them and add onto it. I would also like to say that I think that goes next into the next point, which is frame of reference or point of view. So I put this image in here, and it's called a ViewMaster. I always thought it was called a viewfinder. It's not. And it's literally just the way that I think about frame of reference is if you had a viewfinder and it was glued to your face, and that's what you had as far as your frame of reference. All those little cards that it comes with in those pictures are the things that you know, or the things that you've been given access to, or that you have the sort of privilege to have access to. There's only so much that you have. So we're hoping that you're able to expand your frame of reference and add some more cards and be able to see outside of the things that you know and feel okay with it. In this setting, even though I just said yes and, we have to leave space for no. If you feel uncomfortable, you can't operate like this in an unsafe space where people don't feel like that they can create. So there might be some no in here. If Faith would have said, I really don't feel comfortable saying yes, and I absolutely would have taken it and asked for someone else to give that. So it's really important. And then again, expect the unexpected. We're not really sure. I wasn't sure that that Faith was going to bring up a pregnant frog in this, but now that it's happened, that's no longer unexpected. So I'm just so excited to be able to be here and to play some games with all of you, which we're going to get to in a second.
Someone in the chat just said, imagine a frog croaking during labor, like croaking, like frog croaks while they're trying to have a baby.
There we are. I was already. That's where I was. Her description was
that is a fantastic image.
Yes. So during the games, we may ask for suggestions. One suggestion that might come up is the title of a story that's never been told, or give me a relationship between two people. And that's the type of thing where we may ask for a suggestion, but there's no pressure. Don't worry. We can come up with all kinds of different things. I think we could spend all day on the ideas that Faith has already put out there. So super duper excited to start. So again, we will leave time for questions at the end. I think we're stopping at 5:10. But also we'll probably just talk very briefly about how games can be adapted to different environments. Obviously, it's very different if you are playing this game online, if you're playing it with a group of 20 kindergartners. But really in that sense of making space for yourself and community, we hope that you're able to have a little bit of fun and play this with people that you know. The low stakes environment that can help you create new connections can just be within your own house. So very excited about that. So we may talk about that just in between the games. And here are the games we are hoping to be able to play in this amount of time. So we're going to I'm going to stop sharing just so that we can see everybody and all the players are able to talk to each other. But you'll get this and hopefully we'll get through all of them. But if not, we'll leave a description of them. So are you ready, Nancy, Quintin, and Faith? Did Jewel make it back? I just can't see her in my screen.
I see Jewel.
Jewel, I'm sorry. It was totally me. It was because of, no, it's because I'm sharing my screen. Jewel's like, how dare you? Oh my goodness.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Having a little issues, but they're all fixed.
It's great. Now I see you. You're all good. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then we're going to start with a game called Hats. Stop sharing. Okay. I'm going to start this game called Hats. This is it's called Pass the Hat. Sometimes if you will sit in a circle with people and you're just going to ask people to introduce themselves and tell us the hat that you're wearing. We're going to use something called object work, which means you're just making something up that isn't there. So I'm gonna pick up my hat and I'm going to describe it to you. It's going to tell you a little bit about how I'm feeling today. So this is, have you ever seen those hats that people wear in the sun and they like go over one eye and they look really mysterious? That's what this is, only it covers my entire face. So when I walk down it's like walking, it's walking with me. It's bouncing. It's heavy. My neck is hurting. It's made of a material that hats shouldn't be made out of. And I'm regretting my purchase. But regardless, I'm going to take off my hat and I'm going to pass this to Jewel. Jewel, will you take this hat and then please describe yours? It's a little much. Here you go. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a little bitty tinty tea party hat. Oh wow, thank you. I could probably fit my pinky in here, but I cannot fit my head in here, but I'll try to put it on. How's it looking? Invisible. Thank you. And now I am going to pass this tiny bitty hat to Faith. Faith, here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Faith.
Hi guys. Sorry, it's a little smelly in here. It's my pickle hat. It's inspired by the pickle I used to kill my late husband. Do you guys see it? I took a little bite out of it. Do you guys? I'm going to just pass my hat over to Quintin and it got a little blood on it. Be careful,
All right, so let's reshape this hat into my favorite hat. It's actually got to go up like 3 feet high because it's a stovepipe hat. And it's black velour, if you will, kind of the kind that maybe you see on a $5 bill that old Abraham Lincoln used to wear. So it's a stovepipe hat. It's 3 foot tall. And the reason I like to wear this out is, let's say I'm going to a show or someplace like a children's recital someplace where they might not have food. What they don't know is underneath my hat, I have a cold cut combo that's 12 inches with pickles, Faith, and some other stuff. But that's the secret to this hat is its storage. So now I will take this hat and give it to my friend Nancy. Take this hat and do with it what you will.
Quintin. I'll make sure that the height of it clears my room, and then I'm just going to get up here and smush it down a little bit, and it's going to become a lovely roundish sort of helmety hat. But wait, I can't forget the most important part. The veil that comes down over my face because it's beekeeping season, everyone. Time to put the gloves on and my beekeeping hat. And then I've also created a tiny little hat for my favorite bee because my favorite bee and I like to dress alike. So my bee has a tiny little beekeeping hat as well. And we will be out in my backyard doing some beekeeping later this weekend. Lots of bees around. So if you want to join us, stop on by. Thanks, everyone. Take it off. There you go, Kelly. There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will treasure this forever. And also, I'm so glad that you were able to keep your little tiny bee one. Is your bee keeping other bees or?
He's the head bee, yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
He helps me keep the other bees. You need to get one bee on your side if you're going to if all the other bees are going to listen to you.
All right. And thank you. And thank you. And scene. Good. Excellent work, everybody. That was Pass the Hat. So I am hoping that this is the type of thing where you're starting to understand maybe where this could work for you. Jewel, have you played this in any other environment other than improv class?
Hats. Any other environment?
I'm trying to think if I have either. Have you just like been sitting next to somebody and then pass them an imaginary hat?
I did this at home while we was doing improv in quarantine a lot, and this was one of my favorites.
What makes it your favorite?
The creativity that you could do with it. Last time I was Michael Jackson with my hat. I did a little Thriller or whatnot. And then you could be different characters with your hat. Not only Michael Jackson, but you could make up one as did Faith with her cucumber.
Yes.
I have a pickle hat.
Pickle. So I'm definitely, I'm always looking for ways, all these different ways that you could use these games, but sometimes it's just fun to literally play it with your friends. All right, so we are going to transition into our next game. And I think I'm still introducing this one. So I wrote down a little thing, but not who was actually introducing it because that's just how it is. So we're going to play a game very quickly called Giving Gifts. I'm looking at the chat too. So I'm seeing like, it would be cool to incorporate in the feelings without the feelings intro too. Yeah, absolutely. Don't name any of it. We just do in this environment to say, we would love to be able to talk about feelings without having to talk about feelings. So we're going to play a game. It's called Giving Gifts. Very much so kind of the same, but we're going to talk about what choice means in this. So actually, Mr. Quintin, I got you a present. I got you something. Can I give it to you now?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little, can you make room though? It's a little big.
Yeah.
Here, ready?
Oh, yeah.
It's a little, okay, it's coming. You got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, wow. All right. Now, blow off there. Well, it's a green wig. There's a white bib overalls. Oh, a pair of white gloves. Oh, an orange face paint. Hey, I can be an Oompa Loompa. Thank you. Thank you. I really love this gift. I'd love to know why you got me this gift.
Do you remember when you told me about how much you love Halloween, how to dress up, right? And that how much you loved the original movie of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So it was on clearance. I have 70 more of them because they came in a lot. So if that one goes bad, I got another one for you. I just know how much you love those things. So there you go.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that hair on later in my own mirror. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, I too have a gift, and this gift is for Faith. Let me just get it out of the trunk here. All right. Just here we go.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, it feels alive a little bit. It's a little warm. Okay. My dead bunny that I lost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Really?
I found it.
Where?
Well, it was in my old backpack that I hadn't used.
Why is it cut up?
Well, that backpack fell, and then it fell on the ground, and then my dad came through with a lawnmower, and I was like, "Hey!" I didn't know it was in there. So
My lawyer will be contacting you. Anyways, I got a gift for Jewel. It's very light, be careful with it. Yeah, you got it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
okay.
it. Yeah. No, yeah. So this is a really tiny thing. Is this even a gift?
It is. What? Yeah. Now open it.
Gonna open it. Wow, it's so tiny. It's so hard to open because it's so tiny. I mean, you gotta give people some gifts, I guess.
Like, yeah, like you open it.
I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna open it. I might need a magnifying glass.
Okay.
Oh, I think I know what this is. This must be genes from an old animal in Antarctica that died a long time ago. Thank you, Faith. I really needed this.
Yes. Okay, so I went on a trip to Antarctica after my bunny died, and I was just trying to heal, and I just seen this big polar bear, and I thought, what if we just kind of cut off a little bit of, because I'm not for animal abuse, like cut off the fur just a little bit, dye it blue, make blue jeans. But I only got a little bit off before the security escorted me out. But I really wanted to give it Do you like it?
Security. I love it. I'm gonna pass. I have a gift myself, and I'm gonna pass it to Nancy.
Oh, Jewel, you really shouldn't have. I'm so excited.
You know you want it. Here.
Thank you so much.
Here's a medium-sized box, not too big, not too little, just
beautiful medium-sized box. I'm gonna match that size. Oh, it smells so. Oh, it smells so good. I cannot wait to open this. It is. What? This is my favorite homemade. I think it. My favorite homemade strawberry shortcake dessert. I cannot believe you. This looks like my grandmother's recipe. Where did you learn to make this, Jewel? This is incredible.
It's a funny thing. I was running past this rabbit, this bunny, and I ran into someone's house, and I saw this cake, and it might have looked like a person was living there and whatnot. And I did see a picture with you in it. But I took the shortcake and then I put it in a gift. I was like, because I have to, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone.
So you were in
so
my actual grandmother's house. I'm pretty sure you were in my grandmother's house because this is her strawberry shortcake. I cannot believe you randomly found my grandmother's house and brought me my favorite strawberry shortcake. You are amazing. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Delicious.
Thank you. Tell her to lock her door.
I will. She really needs to lock her door.
Nancy,
Kelly, you look left out. You want
Oh,
a gift?
Kelly!
Nancy, did
Of
you?
course I got you a gift. Are you kidding me? Of course I did. Are you ready? There you go.
Okay. This is going to take a second, right?
Yeah. I wrapped it with tweezers.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. It's a miniaturized version of the tiny kitchens that were so popular like 8 years ago.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Because I remember you saying, I need to redo my kitchen. And then you decided to not redo your kitchen because you loved your kitchen the way it was. And I thought, what if she could have it both ways? What if she could not redo her kitchen, but then have a tiny little itty bitty redone kitchen?
Yeah, you are always thinking of me. Thank you so much. I will put this on my shelf and remember when I thought I was going to be able to redo my kitchen.
You could probably put it in your kitchen. Wouldn't that be cool? Now you've got a redone kitchen in your kitchen. Amazing. You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
And that was giving gifts, everybody.
That's giving gifts.
Thank you. So the difference between the first game that we played and the second game that we played, right? The ideas were coming from us and the ideas were coming from a different person. Faith or Jewel, did you want to just say the difference in experience between both games, how it feels to create something yourself and get a suggestion from somebody else?
Okay, I'll go. Oh, wait, no. Go. No.
No, I'm gonna leave it now. I'm gonna leave it to you. I'm gonna leave it to you.
The difference was I never knew what to expect, and like depending on the size, I was thinking like how are they gonna spin that? Like, come on. But each time you guys surprised me with like your new ideas, and it wasn't even about just objects. It had like a whole storyline, and I really liked it. So yeah.
Did you have anything else to add, Jewel? Thank you, Faith.
The difference between this one and the other one.
Mhm.
It was like since what game were we playing again?
This one was giving gifts. The other one,
Oh, okay.
I know it's been a minute. The other one was hats.
Since it's not like an object, that a specific object, and we get to create this object, it's like we get to put it also in a world, and we get to shapeshift that world and how that object interacts with the world and the storyline behind it. And I feel like it's more freedom with this one, but I also feel like the hats one is like it's like a warm up to this one, and it kind of made us flow a little bit more freely and get the vibe of each other. So it's cool.
Thank you. And this, in the sense of just adding to, you get to create something yourself. That hat is yours. You pass it on to somebody else. And we have found that using object work, even in the sense of I'm passing you something through this camera and someone accepts it through the camera, goes a very long way as far as the power of agreement. So then when someone's giving you a gift, you have no idea what's coming. And you have to then agree with that and move and add on to it. So I appreciate our players moving forward with this. All right, I'm doing a very brief time check, and it looks like we have 30 minutes until we start a more open discussion. So I say we just run through what are you doing really quick. I'm going to start an action, and I'm going to pass this along to Faith. Or actually, I'm going to pass it along to Quintin because I went to Faith last time. I'm just going to start doing something. I'm going to pick apples. That's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be picking apples. And then when Mr. Quintin is ready, he'll ask me.
Which normally we allow about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, so that environmental object work is established. And then I would say, hey, Kelly, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm going bowling.
Going bowling. Just.
Hey, Quintin, what are you doing?
I am washing the cat.
Whenever anybody else is ready.
Oh no, we're gonna let you do this for a minute. We want to see how nice the cat is. Hey, Kelly Rossi, what the heck are you doing?
I am stargazing.
Well, sure. Ooh. Oh. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Oh, that was a plane. Okay.
Hey, Nancy,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
I am painting my nails bright purple.
Okay. Everybody at the nail salon said this was pink, but it's purple. Ooh, it's a little strong. Should never stole this one.
Hey, Faith, what are you doing?
I'm working at a meat shop, butcher shop.
Hey, Kelly, what are you doing?
Oh, I am playing basketball. Not sure who I was at that meat shop, but
I think the counter person.
3 seconds left. We're down by 1. I can do this.
Hey, Quintin, what are you doing?
I'm cutting vegetables.
Okay. Out of the finger.
Oh no, not the fingers. Jewel, what are you doing?
I am playing Just Dance.
Oh sure. Oh sure. Oh sure.
I'm yelling timber.
Nancy, what are you doing?
I am swimming in Lake Michigan.
This one, right now?
Mhm, right now.
Yeah.
Hasn't had a chance to warm up yet at all.
Oh, okay, Kelly, what are you doing?
I'm making cookies.
Gotta make them all uniform, so I put the cup around them.
Yo,
Now, don't
Quinn,
jump around or they'll rise up, yes?
what are you doing?
I am getting ready to floss my pet cricket. Yeah, do that.
Come on, little guy. Come on. Ribbit. Come on.
Ribbit.
Yeah, right there.
Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp.
Oh, and
Chirp. See.
And that's how it goes.
And the cricket is fine.
The
The
cricket
cricket,
fine.
as are all animals mentioned today. Fine.
It's an illusion. It's all an illusion.
So in that sense, this would be a game that we would normally play in a big circle, and someone would go in the middle of that circle and they would start to do an action, and somebody would walk up and say, "What are you doing?" And all they would do, the cricket totally made it. All they would do was all that would do is just charge your brain in a different way, that you're actually physically doing something and saying something else. So that's just another way to get your brain to hear an action and physically do a different one. All different ways to just stretch your brain to think of new things. And again, that very quick power of agreement. We are going to play another game. Quintin, is this you? Are you going to
Sure.
intro line at a time? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a line at a time. So Kelly, if you can find anything in the chat as far as the title of the book that doesn't exist,
Oh,
while I
great.
set this up.
Yes.
So what's going to happen is the five of us will take turns, kind of round robin style, and that's it depends on how good we actually make it. But we're probably going to go a few rounds so that we can actually make at least a paragraph or two about based off the reference that we're going to use that's in the chat. So we'll do one sentence at a time. So the goal is we're all listening. We're trying to yes and what the last person said to create, a good meaty story. So for simplicity, everyone, the five of us, I thought maybe we could go in alphabetical order by first name. So it'd be starting with Faith and ending with me, and then it would just repeat over and over until someone thinks that we've concluded our story. Is there a title that we can begin with for inspiration?
Not yet. Just give me 1 sec.
You pull anything out of there. I saw there were some references to me pulling Pete's out of a hat. Whatever.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You don't even have to give it. All right. So your two options are Sisterhood of the Traveling Antarctic Pants. And the cricket is completely fine, which the cricket is completely fine.
Cricket is fine.
And or Who Needs Pockets, honestly.
Very good. Faith, that's your choice. You're starting this thing.
The first one was the Sisterhood of the Antarctica Pants.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Antarctic Pants.
The cricket is fine, I swear.
We're going with the cricket is fine. Faith?
So I start 2 lines off or one?
You can just start with one. You can even start with the old Once Upon a Time.
Okay. Once upon a time, the cricket got kidnapped.
But the kidnapper was also a cricket.
The kidnapper realized what they had done was wrong and tried to make friends with the cricket that he had just met.
The kidnapped cricket, however, threw a wrench in the plans when he announced, "I've never had any friends that are crickets."
This startled the kidnapper cricket, for he too had no one in his life.
However, the kidnapped cricket was a loser and had a girlfriend, but, she said she would never be his friend.
And The girlfriend cricket took out her phone, which her provider was cricket, and she called the kidnapper cricket.
After realizing that all of them had a lot more in common than they had differences, the girlfriend, the person who, the cricket who had done the kidnapping, the other cricket, and the wireless provider, they all realized that maybe they should just go somewhere and have a meal at this point.
And that is why today, when you go out on to I-94 by the big tire, you see that huge billboard for Cricket Wireless with 3 crickets on it with their tiny little cricket arms around each other. And the new slogan is, crickets are all friends.
The end. Look at that.
See?
Crickets coming together in harmony. Very good. Very good.
Who thought? No, please, Mr. Q.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. So we're listening to each other. We're yes-anding the situation, and boom. So this next exercise is called numbers. That's it. So what we would try to do is, after all these exercises that we've hinted at and played, now we're going to see if students can maybe give us same kind of emotion while telling their story. But instead of having to worry about coming up with that pesky dialogue, the only thing they have to say is numbers. Okay. So the scene begins with the number 1 and ends with the number 25 in that order. So in place of dialogue, it's just numbers. Okay. So we'll run the scene as 2 people. And Kelly, if you can pull something from the chat for inspiration, maybe a relationship or a location or just kind of anything. And I'll leave it up to my friends here. If anyone, 2 of the 3 of you want to put up a hand to see if you'd like to play this. I don't mind playing it myself if no one wants to, but it's called numbers. Faith, Jewel, very good. Do you have any questions, Faith or Jewel? You remember this one, yeah? So in place of dialogue, you're just saying the numbers. That's the dialogue in this thing. Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, we've got some suggestions of Lake Michigan or Cedar Point. Either one of those sound like a good starting off point, or how about Cedar Point?
Yeah, the location of Cedar Point.
Location of Cedar
inspiration.
Point for inspiration
And
for your scene.
Very good. Whenever you're ready.
1, 2,
3, 4,
5,
5, 5, 5, 5, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9,
10,
11,
11,
12,
13,
14,
15,
16,
17,
18, 19,
18,
20,
21,
22,
23,
24,
25.
Very good. Look at that. So that's numbers. So next time you're on Netflix, watch your favorite movie in another language, and you'll see it's like, oh, it still says the same thing because it's the emotion, it's their facial expression, it's their body language. So we just saw this whole scene transpire in Cedar Point. We were a little worried at the end, but by the end of it, I think their friendship is intact. They're going to eat Italian garlic fries and drive back home to Michigan. Yay.
And in the chat, we did have someone clarify that Cedar Point is an amusement park. For those of you that are not familiar with Sandusky, Ohio. Sandusky, Ohio, and actually there's a few places in Ohio that have wonderful theme parks. I need to ask Faith and Jewel, who were you in that scene?
From my perspective,
I feel like we were.
Oh!
You don't converse, sir, am I?
Go.
Oh, okay. You was Avery? Okay.
This is the exact scene, but in English now. See? Same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. We were besties, and I wanted to go on all the rides, and I feel like Faith, she didn't want to, and we had an argument. And after I was too hot because we was arguing a lot to even go on the ride.
Oh,
So that's what I was saying.
disagree.
okay,
completely.
Faith.
My perspective, first of all, we went to Cedar Point. You ain't had no money, and you want to go on every ride, and I was hyping you up, and I was like, "Where's your ticket?" And you didn't have no money, and I had to pay for your ticket, and then we got on the rides, and I didn't like that. But then we got off, we had an argument, and then you repaid me my money, and I was happy. Like, you see how that works? Like, you see how that works? You see how
That's
the
what I
world
saw.
works?
That's exactly what I saw. Yep.
Because I could have sworn that you didn't have any money in that scene.
That
Now, I will say that I thought it was what Jewel had said. And
I disagree.
how utterly fascinating when we talk about point of reference, point of view, what you consider to happen, what an amazing way to take all of the dialogue out, just use numbers and just show what is happening. I mean, that's a classic, not having to use words to be able to communicate, but also look at the perspective that you saw from being in that scene. They were almost doing two opposite scenes in their own head, but you could see the two of them responding to each other. I loved that scene. Nancy, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I just wanted to say that sometimes, people often when they start improvising feel like, I'll never think of what to say. How do you think of what to say? How do you do that? How do you do that? And an exercise like this teaches you that truly, it isn't about thinking the perfect thing to say. It's the opposite of that. It's about not planning ahead, not trying to think of what to say next, and truly just engaging with your partner and listening to them. And when you just listen to what they say to you, and then you agree with it and add on to it, back and forth, that's where the yes and comes from. So this exercise reminds you really clearly that you don't have to have any lines of dialogue at all to be agreeing with one another, to be yes-anding each other. And it teaches you that spirit of improv without having to be scared or worry about what to say. So it's great for beginners and it's great for everybody. It's great. It's a great warm-up. It's a great ensemble game.
And thank you, Nancy, and thank you everybody who's in the chat that are just commenting. It's super helpful, obviously, to go back and then be able to draw some suggestions from that. But it's also great to just see interacting and hear what all of you have to say while these things are going on. I see a question from the moderator, but I think maybe we want to try to do new choice in YouTube before we head that over. Okay.
Sure thing.
All right. I think that next we are going to play a quick game of new choice. And I think Nancy and Quintin, did you say that you were going to start this scene? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we're going to do some new choice. And so the way that this works is this is also called the bell game or bell switch sometimes, because sometimes when you play this game, you literally ding a bell. But the way that it works is we're going to begin a scene, Quintin and I, and then as we get going in that scene, at some point, Kelly is going to yell out, new new choice. And then we will have to make a different choice of what we just said and just go in a completely different direction. And we'll do that as many times as she says new choice. And then we have to incorporate that into the scene and let it change and alter what we're doing. So for example, Quintin, if Quintin were to say,
Hey, that wagon over there is red.
new choice.
Hey, that wagon over there is rusty.
New choice.
Hey, that wagon over there is full of bologna sandwiches.
Mhm.
It's getting to be Quintin's dinner time. So yes, perfect. That's the way it works. And we just need a suggestion of, what do you want, Quintin? A location, a relationship? What do you think?
I'm up for anything that might be in the chat that just
Maybe a
screams,
relationship? How do we know each
yeah.
other? We had a location for the last one. So how do we
Sure.
know each other? Are we college roommates? Are we co-workers? What do you think?
If anybody has it, you can put it in the chat, a relationship for these two. All right. Siblings-in-law or neighbors or people on the bus next to each other.
all those things.
Okay.
All right.
Your
All
your
those
siblings-in-law, your neighbors, and you're sitting on the bus next to each other. Here we
Got it.
go. Here we go.
You know, we should have listened to me and flown. That's all I'm going to say is we could have flown instead of taking a 19-hour bus ride.
So you're just going to repeat yourself every 45 seconds when I forget from the last time that you said it. I know, you're right.
Well, that's all I was waiting to hear. I like it when you say that I'm right.
New choice.
I like it when you notice my blue eyeshadow.
New choice.
I like it when you sing Yankee Doodle Dandy.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, a Yankee. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm mad at you.
Well, I don't know why you're still mad. I mean, that happened yesterday. We've been on the bus forever. You can't stay mad at me forever.
Well, when we stop in Durand, I will maybe forgive you as I eat a quick small fry from the McDonald's.
New choice.
I will maybe forgive you when I run into Rite Aids and get some chapstick.
New choice.
Listen, when we stop in Durand, I'm going to run as far away from you as I possibly can.
You have no right to be mad at me. Just because you're married to my sister doesn't mean that you can let your bougainvillea tree grow so large that it comes over into my yard. You know, we're next door neighbors. I have rights too.
New
You
choice.
It's very,
We're next door neighbors, and I think that we should have a garage sale together.
New choice.
We are next door neighbors, and I think that we need a giant banner that hangs from my house to yours that says "Happy Fall."
well, that'd be good for 25% of the year.
Well, sure.
Maybe you could come up with something more clever, like Happy Year.
New choice.
Maybe we could say something clever like, hey, free barber shoppings.
New choice.
Hey, maybe we could just say, look, there's a baby. He's going to be born here in 8 months. I wasn't supposed to tell you. Keep it a secret.
You and Carolyn are having a baby, and my sister didn't tell me she's pregnant?
Well, she wanted to keep it a secret for your birthday. Surprise.
New choice.
She forgot.
New choice.
She doesn't want you to be part of her life.
I know what this is about. She thinks I'm going to be a bad aunt just because when we were children, I glued her hands to her head.
New choice.
She thinks I'm going to be a bad aunt just because I called her silly little princess pants for 5 years when we were children.
New choice.
She thinks I'm going to be a bad aunt just because I adopted a chinchilla and then I dressed it up in Shirley Temple dresses.
Yeah, I mean, it just appears you're ready to put costumes on anything small and little and fragile and delicate.
But that's
Well,
what makes me a good aunt. I'm so loving towards all of God's creatures.
And
Well.
scene. Happy fall. Happy the baby will
happy
be here in
year.
8 months. Happy year.
Happy
Nice work,
year.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am I'm hoping that you would be able to see that something like that is great to be able to just expand your mind into and make you not really think about the next thing that's going to come up, but feel comfortable with what's going to happen. Excellent work. We have just a couple of minutes. Would you like to, I bet it is the cutest chinchilla. Would you like to do one quick demo of YouTube, Faith and Jewel, before we take it over and answer a couple of questions?
Sure.
All right.
Excellent.
All right, Quintin.
So hopefully in that chat, we can find out an area of expertise. And then also, if maybe we have fast typers, if there's any questions that come up throughout this live stream YouTube video that these two could answer while they're going. So is there any subject matter that they can be experts about that you're seeing, Miss Kelly?
Tree cutting. I am seeing tree cutting.
Tree cutting? Now, is this
yes.
where every tree lives? Or
yes, the trees all make it. I mean, I don't want to decide. But everybody makes sense. All right, tree cutting. That is your expert.
I'm gonna click on this video here for this tree cutting here. What's we got here?
Hey YouTube, it's me, Jewel, and my partner.
My name is Harry.
And today we are showing you guys what we do day to day. This is a daily vlog of the trees that we cut. And not only do we cut the trees, we save the trees. Okay, so when you cut trees, you're not actually killing it.
You are! Sorry.
She gets emotional. So first we're going to start off with step 1. First, you need some school scissors. Now you might think, Faith. Now you might think, why school scissors?
Right.
Well, if you hit that Cash App in the bio below, we can send you the link. And if you donate $5, we can send you the link to the school scissors, and we will release some secrets. But now back to the video. Faith?
This is your moderator. I just wanted to tell you that there's a question, and it's what kind of trees do you cut? Can you please go ahead and answer that? Thank you.
Faith, do you want to answer this question?
Yeah, I can answer it. Even though like she said, cutting trees actually doesn't affect the earth, even though it does affect the earth. Like it literally, California wildfires, you know.
To cut you off, because she doesn't know what she's saying. We cut oak trees mainly, so we can have the oak and the spruce.
You burn them.
We do some chemistry in our lab back there, and we turn the oak into spruce, into any other types of wood. So you know, it looks like spruce and flaky wood, but it's actually real oak wood, which is very expensive.
Can you please answer where's your favorite place that tree cutting has brought you?
Faith, would you like to answer this one correctly?
Sorry for before. Didn't take my meds today. Well, tree cutting it is very near and dear to me. In the forest where she tied me. I mean, in the forest is my favorite place to tree cut. So you know, is help. That's what they were telling me, the trees. They were like, help, like I'm in the dangerous situation. Please help me.
what Faith is saying is that cutting trees has been a good joy to us. I mean, look at where we are now. You guys are hitting that Cash App below in the link below. Let me just tag it for you just in case you guys don't know. As with Jexy and, you know, the $5 and everything, and we are getting everything. So.
There is one other question that I feel like maybe a lot of people wanted the answer to, just to quickly ask, is that, Harry, is there a different profession that you'd like to go into other than tree cutting?
Obviously this is my top choice, but I had a life before this. I had kids. I had a marriage, and I was a painter once in a while, and sometimes I cut up the leaves and I paint the life that I had before. Help me, please. Just a joke.
See, very good, excellent. Oh, poor Harry. Excellent.
Harry, I need to tell you, Harry, there's a lot of help in the comment section for you. And I don't know if the person who asked the question to you knew that we were going to get your chosen profession from before, but I think that it's pretty great that we got that. So thank you.
There's a free Harry hashtag happening in the chat right now.
I mean, people are worried for Harry, and with good reason.
Free Harry, poor Harry.
So we only have about 6 minutes. So I just wanted to say that was YouTube. Faith and Jewel, thank you very much for jumping into those characters. Excellent work. I'm very, I think we'll get into a little bit into the questions that are in the comments, but it's really always amazing to watch the two of you support each other in your scene work. And I absolutely listen now. Harry and the cricket will be fine. Now the comment section is trying to comfort me. This is to this point now. So I just want to say thank you so much for jumping into that. I didn't want to tell you before, but at one point there was about 138 people watching. So I was really excited for them to be able to see. That's why I didn't say it until now. So I just want to say thank you so much for putting yourself into that and for letting us meet Harry. I think everybody was very happy to meet him. So we just have a couple of questions in the chat, and I don't want to take the moderator's job. So if Mava, if you want me to just go ahead because I can see them. Cool.
Yeah, go for it, Kelly, if you feel comfy doing that.
Sure. I know we just have a few minutes left. So one thing that was in the chat that I wanted to ask was, how do you handle it when you get stuck and or when the storyline is passed to you and you don't feel comfortable with the direction it's going? How do you consider the psychological safety of the group when not knowing what to expect? So anybody have a direct response to that from our group?
I can speak to the second half of that, and then maybe Faith or Jewel, maybe you want to take a stab at where you go when the scene is taking a direction that you're not completely comfortable with. But in terms of the psychological safety of the group, I think it's really important in all training and all improv training that some table setting is done at the top. And it's really important to lay some ground rules about respect for one another, making sure that you're creating a safe space, making sure that everyone feels safe within that space. So any class that I've ever taught, that's a conversation that happens at the very beginning. Physical safety, everybody's physical boundaries, everybody's emotional boundaries need to be respected, and the group has to adhere to those rules. So if you set those rules at the top of any training, then it's very easy to make sure that we as a group don't go far afield of those that list of do's and don'ts, if you will, that we've come up with together. And when the group has ownership over that list, I think it makes them feel empowered for sure. So, and then, improv is all about making it up off the top of your head, and humor is subjective. So sometimes some things are said that people get uncomfortable about, and I will always, as a teacher, make sure that we unpack that right away. And make sure that everybody in the classroom, feels safe, and that we understand why something may have been said that is triggering, or what have you. But usually I find that people everybody wants to create a safe space together. And so everybody wants to be really respectful of each other's boundaries. And that leads to greater positivity in agreement and yes, and everybody's kind of rooting for one another and acting as one ensemble. And that's kind of the wish for any great class.
Thank you, Nancy. Faith or Jewel, how you handle it when you get stuck or in a storyline is passed and you don't feel comfortable?
I handle like the stuck thing is I would look around and I would just, or like the first thing that comes to mind, I was like green, and then
Yeah.
somebody, the other person, my partner, have my back and they'll be like, what? And then, you know, it'll flow from then. Your mind kind of catches up to the story if you're stuck, or you could just say some random stuff and soon it'll make sense. And like Nancy said, it's up to both the scene partners and everybody who's in it to make it a safe space. And sometimes you gotta know how to boop yourself out. Sometimes things might slip, but it's your responsibility to make it back to that safe place, to that safe space to back to where it was. And yeah, it's just a cooperative thing that has to keep going. And yeah, it's like that.
Thank you, Jewel. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that one, Faith?
Oh, she kind of said what? Oh, yeah, she said everything. I didn't really know how to answer that question, to be honest.
Yeah. Here's another one. Somebody saying they like the improv perspective of connecting with youth because it involves a lot of trust in the other group members to make the scene work. So that in itself builds connection and builds up the team. How can I introduce the teens so that there's a buy-in from everyone?
Like introduce like that to their team and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's about time. It depends on how long you are with the group. But it's also, people love to feel comfortable. And I think the best way to make people feel comfortable is through humor, is through making them laugh. And like in improv in general, you have to understand that it's always going to be uncomfortable at first. It doesn't matter because we've all been in a group for a long time, and still sometimes it's just like, okay, a little awkward. And but it's just about building that trust with them and knowing that they'll have your back regardless. And if they don't even have your back, you have your own back. And so with a group, you have to just let them know that they can come to you and that you can come to them. And it's a gradual thing that comes with time.
Absolutely. And research based off of having a 10-week program just shows comfortability from that once a week, just week 1 to week 10 of feeling comfortable talking to people outside of your comfort zone in the groups that you know. So it's definitely I think from the beginning of it, it's about, like Nancy said, table setting, but then also making sure that that buy-in is tied to what they're interested in. If you came in and it was like, all right, after today, we're never talking about crickets again. That's absolutely never, we're never talking about them, in that sense of we created that together. So for one person to get rid of it, it really does make that group sense of connecting with that other person and creating something that's never been created before. I'll just say really quick, what's your advice or direction if a student says something inappropriate during improv, or do you stop the scene or handle it afterward? I think that it depends on who you are and how that is in the group. I think that each teacher would handle it differently, but personally, if it breaks the boundaries, goes past the boundaries of how we feel safe in that space. And again, it takes a little bit of those few icebreakers at the beginning to really understand where people are coming from. I would stop it if it happens right away, just to make sure that there is a precedent set for this is where our boundary is. We created it together and we absolutely have to respect it. And if that is just not bringing up crickets, then maybe that's what it is.
I'd also add to that teachable moments are really great in the moment, and especially with improv. So sometimes by the time the scene is done and it's like, okay, how could we have done that differently? It's a little hard to go back and think about how we could have done it differently. And I always try to focus it on not what you said wrong, as opposed to this is where we've arrived in the scene. How can we take the scene in a different direction? If you're on stage and something like this gets said, how can we as a group salvage this? Because again, we're asking people to think off the top of their heads, to not pre-plan, to not censor themselves, and to just feel free to say whatever they want. So you really don't want to come as a teacher from a place of like, ooh, but not that, that was wrong, bad thing that you said. That's totally going to put them in their head. So if you talk about instead, it's always the where can we go, instead. But it also depends on what is said. If something is said that someone thinks is funny, that's really, really hurtful to someone else in the class, then it is just about stopping that moment. And now it's like, now we've hit a boundary that we don't pass, and that's never going to be said again. And, and if you do it firmly enough, then I think everybody understands these are the safe zones that we stay in.
And if it's okay with the conference, if we could just take 90 seconds so that our last voices here are from our youth advisors that joined us today. If you wouldn't mind just answering this really quick question of how potentially improv can be a tool for self-discovery and mental health. Briefly, just so we can hear your voices before we're done.
Okay, I'm gonna be really fast so Jewel can talk, but I struggle with like severe depression and stuff like that. And so literally like it gets you out the bed in the morning. And I'm not gonna say like you can still be sad or whatever or go through whatever you have, but your problems are waiting for you after that. Don't like it really does kind of it really does kind of alleviate some of that pain and to not take life too seriously, because this is kind of all made up anyway, do what you want. So, yeah.
Thank you, Faith.
I would say, to go off with Faith, it kind of increases like a flow in your day. It's like, today you were a dragon, today you made scrambled eggs. Let's see what you can do in real life. It kind of expands your imagination, and it kind of it makes you bond with people even more too. It's like being comfortable with friends and everything, and getting out of that space, and it erases writer's block too, because it's like things are just spilling out of your head constantly. So everything is just it's like you're free, and it's like a new feeling. Like it's a new feeling other than like sadness or happiness. It's just like a free flowing feeling, like you could spin around after the meeting or after the game, and like you could dance wherever you want, be whatever you want, and it increases that thinking. And I feel like that's the best part. But there's a lot I can say about improv, but parts.
Well, there is a lot I could say about how you have enhanced the art form and made it your own and done so many beautiful things. Our youth advisors, truthfully, we would be nothing without you, your involvement in this. We would not be here without you, Jewel and Faith. Literally, they did a conference last year, and they were asked to come in this space, and we are just so incredibly thankful. Detroit Creativity Project would not be what it is without you, Jewel and Faith. So thank you so much. I hope that you are able to. I hope everyone who's watching, thank you so much for your involvement. Thank you for all of your comments. I think Harry is going to be okay, but that's just me. And I'm personally, again, just so thankful to Faith and Jewel and for this conference, for all of you. And a huge shout out to Mava and Riss for just being all the everything leading up to it. So thank you all so much.